Yeah, it was Minions Bonanza this weekend. It went insane, bro.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, the largest July 4th box office return ever. And that's for a movie post pandemic too, where we've been talking about how movie theaters are trying to come back, and it really feels like they're back in full force. A smart move, I guess, by delaying this movie 2 years and waiting for audiences to be ready to go back into theaters. But I mean, there's so much to talk about with just even specifically Minions Rise of Gru. If we want to start with what we're watching in there, that's the only big movie released in theaters this weekend.
They all moved on
and I don't and I don't know where you want to start. Do we start with the movie? Do we start with the box office, or do we start with Gentle Minions?
You start with Gentle Minions. This is everything. I think everyone has said it. There'll be case studies of this. What Morbius thought they were getting, but didn't translate into actual dollars.
It's Morbin time.
Yeah, the Minions turned into millions. That's what happened there. And I think it all has to do with really good marketing. In my opinion, they had a soundtrack that had no business being that good. I don't know if you've seen the names on the soundtrack, which are completely insane. On top of that, they were able to hit a viral market on not just having the idea of, it's Morbin time being like a phrase that people could just lie about. It was the activity of actually going into the theater that I think made it more successful. I also just think we've come around on the Minions, bro. I looking back at the Rotten Tomato scores for the first ones, I think people really liked 1 and 2, and then they did not like the Minions going on their own. They were not cool with 3, and then they just came back. I think the Minions have been the same this entire time. I think at the end of it, the Minions speak to all of us, Zach. I think there's a reason why their mumble-jumble language is a mixture of everybody's, and I think they finally connected with it. But yeah, cinema is clearly not dead if people are going out in droves to see Kevin, Bob, and Stuart. Except for Zach.
Definitely. I mean, I think at this point I just have to go see it to be in on the phenomena, to at least know what everybody will be referencing, or at least what everybody younger than me will be referencing. You made a point about people who are like ready to go see the Minions or coming around on the Minions. I think the most cogent point that I've heard people discussing in terms of Minions' success is that it's really become this franchise that a lot of younger people have grown up with. The first movie was released in 2010, so if you were, somewhere between the ages of 3 to 5 back then, you're somewhere between 15 to 17 right now, and able to go out into theaters on your own, see the latest in the franchise you grew up with, the way that, for you and me, we got to go see Toy Story 3, and that was like a big deal for us. That was also a huge box office return for Pixar. But specifically with Despicable Me, I don't know if you saw on Twitter that 34% of its audience was between the ages of 13 and 17, which is unusually large for an animated movie. That, considering most people believe animated movies are supposed to be marketed only towards children, and then maybe
there's still
adults
kids
that get
there's still
dragged
kids.
along. But I think there's a difference though between that 13 to 17-year-old kid and the 12 and under crowd.
Yeah.
And that there are all these people who are maybe out of what we consider the normal age range for the family animated movie showing up for this because there is that beloved connection to the franchise. To me, that's the lesson, is that, even if something isn't necessarily critically lauded or whatever, there is an audience that is going to have that attachment to it. And we're seeing nostalgia fuel so many of these big box office numbers, whether that's Avatar, hopefully soon, whether that's Jurassic World's big box office numbers and bringing people back, whether that's Top Gun returning to Maverick's adventures. People coming in with some sort of attachment to the property motivates people to get there. And, I don't know what the balance is between that and just like the MCUification of the theatrical going experience, but clearly there's a huge appetite for Minions that I wasn't anticipating, because it feels like it's a franchise that is really stretching itself thin at this point, at least from the outside looking in.
So you don't have all the lore, all the backstory, but it's everything that you're saying about that idea that they've grown up with it. Add to that good music. Add to that the viral viral ability of it, of having people record themselves going to the theaters.
The music's the thing where there's something there for everybody. There's a lot of artists that are kind of in like the age range of people I like, and they're covering songs that are songs my parents liked. You know?
It's crazy. Tame Impala, Diana Ross, and then getting Yeet right at the last second with Lyrical Lemonade to make a video. I don't know if you saw that. At that point, I mean, that's what causes the thing to go viral, you know? I think they were able to tap into the market and they knew exactly what to go for. On top of that, they're also doing the reverse thing, like what the X-Men movies did, the prequels where they were going 50, 60, 70. They started in the 60s with Minions. Minions 2 is the 70s. Bro, they haven't even hit the pocket of the 80s, the 90s. You're saying they're going thin. Their money's gonna grow with this right here. I think that they're gonna milk this out to a degree that's gonna be insane. Obviously, they already got the pipeline of it going straight to Peacock afterwards, if I'm not mistaken. So I don't know, man. These Minions are gonna be around for a while. You need to catch up because we need to do the bracket.
I guess so. Unfortunately, as much as it's gonna pain me, but I'm glad people are enjoying it. I guess. Did you encounter any gentle minions at your screenings?
You know, my minions, all the minions at my screening were all press, so they weren't really getting up on their chairs. But there were jokes that really got to them. My sister said she just saw it yesterday, and she said there was a group of 17-year-olds that would just get up and clap at like random scenes, and she's like, it annoyed me to no end. But then there was also, again, like I said, I think there's a lot of older audiences that love the 70s references and the needle drops and a lot of the different things that happen. I remember specifically for ours, there was it was the dial tone. Someone dialed somebody, and because back in the day you had to do the whole rotary phone, they died at that way more than they needed to. So yeah, I think that there's something there for everyone. Personally, I don't. It's not my favorite Minions. It's not the worst Minions, but it's not my favorite Minions. I still think that when you
right in the middle,
when you're able to balance them like Despicable Me 1 and 2 did, where you have Gru's story and the adorable girls, and then you have the Minions. I think there's a reason those two are the best. Here, they're splitting it with Gru, and I think they should have chosen. But the Mrs. Scene is really great. I still think there's slapstick comedy, all of that still delivers. But if you are going out there, don't be despicable. Clean up after yourselves. Take your video. Do whatever you got to do. And just enjoy Minions. Don't scare little kids. Isn't that terrible being like a child going to go see Lightyear? It was completely normal, and then you come see this, and there's like just random dudes piling up with droves of 20. I think that's another thing. You know, that's why you sold so much. When you have 20 kids going in to go see the movie, it's going to do numbers.
Exactly. You turn it into like a social event more than even like a movie.
It's like a church movie, you rent out the theater.
Yeah. There were a couple new characters and big voice actresses. Did you respond to any of the new additions? Taraji P. Henson as Bell Bottom. Michelle Yeoh also showing up here during a big year for her.
Michelle Yeoh is definitely the best one because she like teaches them karate. That's something that you end up seeing later on, and I think she had the most voice acting to do. Everybody else, I do find it really interesting that they're playing versions of characters they're known for. Taraji just did Proud Mary not too long ago. For like Jean-Claude Van Damme is John Claude because he's got a big claw. Dolph Lundgren plays a cartoony version of himself. Danny Trejo, Lucy Lawless. I like that. I don't think they're as funny as previous villains could have been. Like in the last one, they had Scarlet Overkill was voiced by Sandra Bullock. And rewatching that one, like she ate that role up. She gave all that. So I think splitting it between all of the new voices kind of diminishes it a little bit, but I will definitely say that Alan Arkin, because he ends up being Gru's hero, who is also a villain, that they're able to get a lot of good back and forth there. But the voice acting's okay. It's all about Pierre Coffin, bro. This is the guy who does all of the Minion voices and just a little... I really want to see a Minions movie where it's just in Minionese. I wish they had the balls to do that. Same way I was saying that Jurassic World wants to really talk about the dinosaurs, but won't give them their own movie where you're just focused on them. There's a certain point where it's just like, get the humans out of it. I think you could really have a whole Minions type of movie where you just focus on them and get their mannerisms. It's very slapstick. That I think that's why I think it's transcended to a lot of people.
Awesome. All right, so Minions: Rise of Gru still in theaters. Will be in theaters for a while, given how much money it's made.